let us see how we will confirm the diagnosis of Horner syndrome. Suppose a patient has come to you with this finding. Now you can see here this eye is showing a little meiosis, like 1 to 2 millimeter, maybe 1 millimeter, a little, sorry, ptosis, a little ptosis, and it is showing a meiosis, right? Right, it is showing ptosis and meiosis. So what are the tests that we can do? So the first test is apraclonidine. We can use 0.5 to 1 percentage apraclonidine, or we can use 4 percentage cocaine. Actually, this apraclonidine, so for confirmation, apraclonidine test is done more nowadays. Cocaine is not that readily available, right? So this apraclonidine test is done. So we instill apraclonidine in both eyes. Now, what is apraclonidine? Apraclonidine is an alpha 1 agonist. It is used to treat glaucoma, right? Open angle glaucoma, and it is a weak, sorry, it is a alpha 2 agonist as well. It's a weak alpha 1 agonist, right? And this is a very low concentration. So the mechanism, as I mentioned, is alpha 1 agonist, weak alpha 1 agonist. So alpha 1 is present in the pupil, but it is a weak, okay, it's a weak, and also we are using a very low concentration. Now let us see what are the results. So in the pupil, alpha 1 agonistic stimulation causes what? Alpha 1 agonistic stimulation in the pupil causes, yes, it causes dilation of the pupil, but it's a lower concentration. In normal eye, it won't cause dilation of the pupil. So, but what happens in a Horner's eye? So this was the Horner's affected suspected eye. So here you can see clearly dilation has happened. So this is the result. So result is, if we see dilation, then it is confirmed, right? That is Horner syndrome. And here you can see the same eye, no change. So why is this dilation occurring in the Horner syndrome? Because in Horner syndrome, the dilator pupillae will show, the dilator pupil is denervated, right? There is sympathetic problem. So there is sympathetic, the sympathetic supply is cut off, and there is the sympathetic problem is there. So the muscle is craving for some noradrenaline. Actually, the noradrenaline is not released at the nerve ending now, because the sympathetic pathway is cut off at some level. So how will you distinguish the different levels? We'll see next. So here the pathway is cut off, so it is craving for something. So there is up regulation, there is up regulation of the receptors. So as there is upregulation of these receptors, this much weak and this much low concentration, 0.5 to 1 percentage, is enough for the action of the muscle, as the receptors are upregulated. So that is why we see this result, and we can confirm the Horner syndrome. So the second test to distinguish, to confirm a Horner's is a 4 percentage, using 4 percentage cocaine. So you have to instill. So this is the patient. uh, Suppose this is an example image of that. So if this patient comes, then you can see here you have ptosis and meiosis. So this is the suspected Horner syndrome eye. Now we will instill drops of cocaine in both eyes. So this cocaine is actually an indirect sympathomimetic, right? It's an indirect sympathomimetic. The earlier read apraclonidine was actually a direct sympathomimetic. It had weak alpha 1 action and also an alpha 2 action. So the weak alpha 1 action because of the hyper upregulation or denervation hypersensitivity. Because of the upregulation of the receptors, we had that effect. Okay, or there was a reversal of anisocoria, right? Okay, now in case of cocaine, what we see is it's an indirect sympathomimetic. The action is that it at the end of the third order neuron, normally noradrenaline is released, so it will block the reuptake. So the noradrenaline will be accumulating in the synapse, right? So that is the role of cocaine. So what will happen in a sympathetic pathway lesion, as in Horner's? There is no noradrenaline released here, so the cocaine can't do its effect. It's an indirect sympathomimetic, right? So the cocaine, of course, produces up to no effect, right? Almost no effect. And I forgot to mention, we have to wait for 30 to 60 minutes in all the tests, right? In apraclonidine also we have to wait for 30 minutes. We can take the first reading, look at the 30 minutes, then again at 45 minutes. So we have to wait for some time for the action to take place. So after that, when we look in the normal eye, what will happen? Yes, it will cause the inhibition for the reuptake, and it will cause the sympathetic action. It will cause dilation of the normal eye, and the abnormal eye, there is no dilation. So, and here also you can see anisocoria, and the difference of more than 0.8 or 1 millimeter is taken as significant, and we can confirm the honors. So when I earlier mentioned apraclonidine, I forgot to mention that apraclonidine, there should be upregulation of the receptors, right? There need to be upregulation of the receptors, alpha 1 receptor at the dilator pupillae. So for that upregulation, about 13 to 14 or 12 to 14 days will take. So there has been cases in which okay, yeah, before these number of days also you got a result, but most cases it will take about 14 cases, so 14 days. So in case of acute Horner's, like Horner's with good amount of pain, that is actually seen in, like, if you say carotid dissection. So in case of carotid dissection and all, I said the what the second order or that area can be involved, right, in carotid dissection. Also the ICA, more commonly ICA, if dissection occurs, of course the third order that is accompanying it will be involved, so that will be painful, right? So in such painful also, in such cases we need immediate diagnosis. For those cases we can use cocaine. It will not take these much days for the mechanism to come into action. So that is when we that is the case where we use cocaine, but cocaine is not readily available, or we can of course go for imaging studies for the confirmation. So that's about cocaine. Now we saw that we can confirm the diagnosis by using either 0.5 to 1% apraclonidine, or by using a 4% cocaine. Now how can we localize the lesion, whether it is a preganglionic lesion or a postganglionic lesion? So how can we localize whether it is a preganglionic lesion or a postganglionic lesion? So here is an example picture. So the test that we use is hydroxyamphetamine. Okay, we use hydroxyamphetamine test. So so once we have confirmed the diagnosis for this test, we instill drops of hydroxyamphetamine in each eye. So this is before instilling. Now you can see the anisocoria is present. Both pupils are of a different size. So So after waiting for some time, now we are looking at the result. So what now, before that we should know what is the action of hydroxyamphetamine. Hydroxyamphetamine is it is also an indirect sympathomimetic. So how does this act? It will cause the release of noradrenaline from the third order neurons or the postganglionic neurons. So if the third order neurons is functional with the effect of the hydroxyamphetamine, noradrenaline is released, and of course this is the abnormal eye, you can see the meiosis, and this is the normal eye. If the third order neuron is normal, the hydroxyamphetamine will cause the release of the noradrenaline, and it will cause the dilation of the normal pupil, of course. So the normal pupil is dilated. Now what in case of the abnormal? Here the abnormal pupil is also dilated, but not as much as the normal. Okay, but the abnormal pupil is also surely dilated after we have to wait for 45 to about 50 or about 30 to 60 minutes. Okay, like 45 to 60 minutes or 30 to 60 minutes, right? That is why, so here it has also dilated, so that is why the third order neuron is okay. So the lesion is in the first or second order neuron. So what we can say, the lesion is preganglionic. So the lesion is preganglionic, and the lesion is in the primary or second order neurons. But if in case there is no dilation like this, we can confirm that, or we can localize the lesion to the third order neuron. Why? Because no noradrenaline will be released, because the third order neuron is defective. So postganglionic or third order, there is no dilation, but in case of preganglionic lesions, there will be dilation, right? So this is how you localize the lesion. To distinguish between primary and secondary, you have to do the imaging. So this is how you use amphetamine to localize the lesion. Thank you.